Alright students, so we're here today and the punchline is going to be circumference, which is the entire perimeter of a circle, and its arc length, which is a portion of the circumference. Alright, and here's a funny joke. I got my large circumference from too much pi. I literally laughed out loud when I heard that joke. So let's jump into some things. Fact, if I asked you what does pi equal? You'd say 3.14 and you would be wrong. Pi does not equal 3.14. It's a number incredibly close to 3.14. But fact is, pi is only equal to pi. Pi does not equal 3.14. That is an estimation, an approximation of pi. And here's some fun facts about pi. It would take 12 billion digits of pi typed in a normal size font to reach Kansas to New York City. In the Guinness Book of World Records states that Lu Chao holds the record for memorizing the most numbers of digits of pi. He memorized over 67,000. It took him 24 hours and 4 minutes. The number 1 is the most commonly occurring number in the first 100,000 decimals of pi, occurs over 10,000 times. Pi is defined as the ratio of the circle's circumference divided by its diameter. So any circle, take the circumference and divide it by its diameter, that's where pi comes from. So that's kind of a fun fact that it's approximately 3.14 for any circle. Pi is an irrational number, meaning it cannot be expressed as a fraction. However, a fun fact is 22/7 is a close approximation of pi. It does not equal, but it is used in the ancient days at times. And fun fact is, I know all the numbers in pi. I know every single number in pi. You guys want to hear them? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's it. I just don't know the order. All right, so I know all the numbers. I know that's pretty cool. I just got to work on the order of those numbers. So things to know. All right, circumference of a circle. All right, and let's get this clear. The circumference obviously equals c. That's the circumference. You can also express it as pi times diameter or 2 pi r. All right, and something we have to realize is that c, pi times diameter, and 2 pi r are all the same thing, all right? They all equal each other. They're technically interchangeable, which can be useful depending on what we're trying to find, all right? All right, so using this, we got a pizza. This pizza looks tasty, all right? Fun fact, any pizza is a personal pizza if you try hard enough, all right? The exact circumference of this pie, well, it gave us the diameter, so pi times diameter, and we like to write the number before pi, 18 pi. We like to write the whole number before pi. That's exact. That means it's not rounded. All right, exact answers can be beneficial, but at times just a decimal number can be more meaningful. So approximately 18 pi, plug this in the calculator, it's about 56.5. All right, so this is rounded. So we need to know the difference between exact answers and approximate answers. All right, what is the exact circumference, or what is it of a circle with a radius of 4 inches? All right, so how I use pi times diameter above, now I'm gonna 2 pi r. Remember, 2r is just equal to the diameter, all right? And even looking over here, like the whole thing's a diameter. This is a radius, and that is a radius, all right? So what is the exact circumference of a circle with a radius of 4 inches? Well, 2 pi times 4, which we then just multiply the 2 and the 4 to get 8, so it's 8 pi. All right, what is the exact radius of a circle with circumference of 100 pi meters? So again, circumference equals 2 pi r. This time we know the circumference is 100 pi. So it's 100 pi, 2 pi. And realize this is all multiplication, 2 times pi times r. So I'm just gonna divide both sides by 2 pi. So the radius is 100 pi. Divided by 2 pi. Boom, boom. 100 over 2, or 50. All right. And what is the diameter of a circle with circumference 100 feet? Round your answer to the nearest tenth. So instead of saying circumference equals 2 pi r, this time I'm just going to say circumference equals pi times diameter. And the circumference is 100. Divide both sides pi. So a circle with circumference of 100 will have a diameter of 100 over pi, which when plugged into a calculator is about 31.8. All right, and some things to know as we move forward. Things to know is that an arc is a portion of the circumference, and there's two ways to describe an arc. Arc length is measured in distance. All right, so these are inches, meters, miles, etc. Arc measured, which we've talked about this in previous lessons, arc measured is measured in degrees. All right. Again, portion of 360. An arc length is portion of circumference. All right, so it's good to differentiate between the two. All right, so let's do one problem in this video, but this is it. This is the punchline. You guys need to know this. A lot of what we're doing in the unit, a good portion of the unit, pun intended, is based off of this exact proportion or one very similar to it. All right, so realize that a central angle, basically this is saying portion of 360, an angle is going to be this, these central angles are 360 or less over full 360. Arc length is portion, I'm just going to write of C for circumference, and then 2 pi r is just the circumference. All right, so realize that this ratio, this proportion, it's just a portion of the whole 360 over 360, a portion of the circumference over the whole circumference. All right, so we're still matching up corresponding parts and going about it that way. All right, so looking at this, yes, it's 2 pi r, but realize sometimes we might want to use pi times diameter because that's also a circumference. Or we can even just write C as the circumference. It's just based on what we're finding. All right, so this is what we're going to do. Number 5 is a stereotypical problem. We're going to find the arc length of AB. Basically, we're finding about how much crust does this pizza have. All right, and this is what we do. CA means central angle over 360 equals arc length. And then notice how I have radius, so I'm going to use 2 pi r. Depending on what I have or what I'm trying to find, it's going to force me either to use 2 pi r, pi times diameter, or C itself. All right, so we're going to write this proportion a lot because now I'm going to plug in things. My central angle is 45 degrees, 360. Arc length is what I'm finding, so I'm going to call that X. All right, or I could write arc AB if I wanted to, but I don't, over 2 pi 9. All right, now something we need to do a good job is reducing this. All right, this really fast becomes 45 times 1 and 45 times 8. All right, I can factor out at 45 from both sides, so this becomes 1 over 8. And then this becomes 18 pi after I multiply 2 and 9 together. All right, so things are going great. What I'm going to do from here is cross multiply and realize after I cross multiply there is no fractions. It's a common mistake for students to continue to write a fraction. They don't exist anymore. All right, divide both sides by 8. When we get x equals 18 pi over 8, and then I'm going to factor out a 2 from the numerator and a 2 from the denominator, and boom, that's it. All right, so my exact answer is 9 pi over 4. And there are several reasons why we like exact answers. If there's more calculations to do, it helps. It helps eliminate rounding errors. But 9 pi over 4, it's hard to understand exactly what that means. If I plug this into a calculator, it says it's about 7.1. All right, and we go with inches. We'll say inch. So 9 pi over 4 inches exactly, or more relatable, 7.1 inches. All right, stay tuned for more.